The essence of basketball. I don't know if you can be a basketball player without experience.
Streetball radio.
Oh, with the Street Fighter in the background. Let's go.
Stop playing, yo. Wow. My man, the professor, what's good, B?
What's good, man? What's good? It's funny. People always ask me if that's fake. You know what I'm saying? With the backdrop. I got the NBA Jam over there, too.
Look at that. Look, I mean, already we got a pan. Already. He's the crossover king. He's the content king. Bob, take it away.
Yeah, no doubt, man. This is B-Ball Radio. My name is Bobbito Garcia, a.k.a. Kool, Bob, Love, and my co-host is...
Eric Newman, E-New in the house, formerly Coach E-New, always producer E-New with you. Let's be true.
Ooh, wait, what? We gonna rhyme today?
You got me in the mood.
We have our guest today. He's snacking on, I don't know what. Is that cookies, crackers, gumdrops?
Healthy apples.
But I will not believe this man is eating anything healthy that later.
We have the professor, people. Bona fide legend at this point. There were detractors from that statement early on in his career, but ain't nobody can argue or debate that at this point. 8 bajillion followers on YouTube. Global ambassador for the sport, former AND1 Mixtape star, former ESPN streetball series, interviewee and featured part, and just a force at this point, and a leader for what is currently called 1v1, previously called one-on-one.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard, man. I think we got to give Eric aplauso for the professor, yo. Aplauso, yo, for all you doing to inspire kids around the world to play ball, man. Respect.
Hey, humble,
man.
bro. Humble, man. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on. Glad to be
doubt,
on with you
man.
guys.
Your face looks a lot stronger. You've been doing like face exercises. What's going on?
I think I just got good framing, bro. Just good lighting here. That's it. Like.
We opened the show asking him if he's been doing face exercises.
Yeah.
I love it. Only one way to go here, and that's up. I was gonna say this is well, first of all, us as a 3-on-3 team would be great. All I got to do is screen, roll, and pop, so my life would be easy.
I love that.
But this is a perfect example of sharing this with the both of you of who you get to meet through the game. Like, I met Bobbito back in the day in New York because I was simply following my passions, and then you and I meet out here, literally living in the same building on the same hallway because I followed my passion and my career. And Bob, I don't know if I ever told you the specifics. Like, I'm here like maybe 8 months, and I'm watching a professor video in my apartment.
Yeah.
And, he's dropping somebody at the beach, and I'm like, wait, what does this move look like? And all of a sudden I go over to my window, and this is when I was living in the other building. And I go over my window, and I hear this familiar voice. And I look down, and this guy is down in the hot tub below my window with his friend. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And I was getting ready to go out for one of my runs. And I walk by, and we just start talking. And he didn't know who I was, but he knew some of my work. And we just started to talk.
Word.
And we just started to develop this, obviously basketball fanatical friendship.
Sure.
And then, when I moved into a bigger space at the beginning of 23, we were living 4 doors down from each other. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wait. Did
connection.
the professor ever invite you over for snacks?
Well, the snack part of it is Professor and I both keep sometimes some strange hours, but he'll edit till 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, word.
And then he'll order food that sometimes gets brought in right away, but then sometimes it's sitting outside his door for hours at a time. So I'll pass by, and he'll get that text. He'll get that text. Yo, your food's at your door, and literally nothing ever healthy. But this man runs on his own fuel, and I just want to say I appreciate you both, and the game has brought us together. And Professor, we miss you down here at the marina, but I know I'll see you soon.
For sure, bro. I miss the marina too. I need those alerts, and my food's waiting.
You gotta come over. You gotta come over for the summer grill. And Bob,
he knows me on a different level for sure. Like, anytime you're 2 doors down from each other, like, you're gonna know a lot. And we did get it together for snacks, but usually I go to his crib, and then I have to like go back to my fridge and get some snacks and bring it over because they had all healthy eats. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta bring my stuff over. But
yeah. The lady's not messing around over here with unhealthy snacks. So
right.
But Bob, you talk about the inspiration on kids. Like, we went to Venice a couple of times to do like the 2-man shooting workout, and it was so much fun. And having someone like him like be like, yo, that's a good workout. Can we do that again? And then I'm like excited, like, oh man, how often can I do this? But like every kid would come over who was walking by and would recognize him, and he would pause and take that photo and have that moment. And that's a special kind of person and a special kind of patience. Not to mention, you're interrupting the flow of the 2-man workout. But all joking aside, like respect and love for that man, because a lot of people don't have that patience. And since we've met, I know how important that is to you to inspire through the game. So salute to you.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. I always looked at it like it's kind of like part of the territory, like interacting with people if you're going to be in this business. So I feel like it's only right. And I've been in down moments too where like I didn't have as much public notoriety, you know what I'm saying? And that usually goes hand in hand with how much with how your career's doing. So if things are on the up, people are going to recognize you. I feel like you almost owe it to them. You know what I mean? I literally feel like it's like owed to have a cool moment, take a photo, take the selfie, have a combo or whatever. So I try to be good to the people, because I feel like, what would you be without that support? You know what I mean?
So, you have a young audience at this point, right? Like, I was talking to AND1 Promo. He's an IG sensation. He's approaching 1 million followers. We had a long build session.
Oh, AND1. He's like 40, right? He's that 40-year-old.
Like, I'm 40. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I seen dude a little bit.
Yo, he's got great content, right? So I was building with him, and he was like, yo, man. He was like, not for nothing. He was like, I watched the professor doing what he was doing on YouTube, and that's what inspired me to start making content. And then I had to think, I was like, I didn't even have a YouTube account, 10 years ago, right? But you were able to transition out of this sort of AND1 Mixtape Tour era to this sort of content creator, as it's called. But was this planned, or were you just like, dag, man, I'm not doing AND1 anymore. Let me shoot these videos and just post them so that I can stay active, crossing people up. Like, was there a strategy to all this, or did you just kind of fall into it? Because, I'm thinking, like, even at that point, being a YouTuber or a content creator wasn't even a term yet. But you were like, basically, AND1 was like, yo, he was like the professor is like the leader in that space. So I'm just curious about what your strategy was, or if there
was like a little bit of fate and a little bit plan mixed. It was almost like my planning was for a different reason. Like, it's funny how it came together. So yeah, I was the first basketball influencer of all time, but it was really due to, I guess, so I found out about YouTube like right when it came out, because people were ripping highlights from the tour, from the ESPN show and the mixtapes, and then they were making their own compilations on YouTube, and they're doing like couple million in a week. So these are like going off. So
what year is this? Like 2006, 2007?
This is 05. So really? Literally, I think it came out. They're saying YouTube came out on record 05. I felt like it came out end of 04, but whatever. All around that area, right? By mid 05, end of 05, fans were coming up often like, yo, love your work. And I'm like, oh, I always was in a habit. I was like, oh, thanks for checking out the show. Appreciate you guys. And some people would be like, no, we seen you on YouTube. We seen you on YouTube. So I'm like, YouTube, huh? So I look into it. We had the sidekicks at the time, the T-Mobile sidekick. And I was remember looking at it, the videos were actually blurry. You had to look at it on a desktop computer, right, to even see a video play clearly. And so
I love how technology has come along.
yeah, so I had like a PC at the time, but anyway, I was checking out YouTube, and I was interested by how, like, if you just searched basketball, me and Hot Sauce highlight mix would come up, just basketball. You know what I mean? So this is early YouTube, very untapped, very unsaturated, and in my opinion, it was a little bit of a way to control your own marketing narrative, which we technically weren't even allowed to do so with AND1 because we had like an exclusive contract. It was a straight up endorsement deal. They do all the promo, all the work, all the everything. You just stay in shape and hoop. But at some point in AND1, I signed, I think somewhere around there, I signed a second or a third deal that was a little bit looser where I could make some money on the side. And so I ended up starting a YouTube channel and kind of flooding it with content in order to get bookings aside from AND1. And I knew that I think at that time it was in like 10 countries or 8 countries. So it was going somewhat international, and a lot of people were seeing it in the States.
That's
so
crazy.
yeah, so I remember I paid my homie who he was going to school for editing. I paid him like $1,000 to make me this crazy like compilation of everything I did on AND1 up until that point. He uploads it, does 1 million in like a week, 2 million in a week, something like that. And the funny thing is, though, it's on his channel because AdSense wasn't a thing. I didn't know how it worked. I'm looking at it as just a big encyclopedia database, you know, like it's all, I didn't think pages belonged to people. It's kind of one database, just like a Google search or something. So I start making vids. And then, as you guys know, 2008 rolls around, AND1 ends. We don't even get a call. It's a wrap. But I am doing some gigs on the side internationally. This is before, like, digital was out. I had MySpace, Facebook, and I was uploading vids on YouTube. I had MySpace, Facebook, and I'm uploading on YouTube. And YouTube back then didn't have AdSense, but then the AdSense came out like 2009, like the very next year. So I start my own, continue to flood it with videos to get bookings, because on YouTube back then you could get a DM. It was more of a social network type thing than it is now. You know what I mean? Like you could actually get a DM. So I was getting bookings through there. And so I was really doing it for marketing, thinking about the live show. But then I find out about AdSense, and then I get some viral content. About 2013, I had a viral video. I went to 1 million subs in one day. And then that was kind of how my digital career began. But like along that way, like Instagram, I think started 2011. So I was just taking my YouTube clips, putting them on Instagram. And then Facebook, I got a hold of somebody at Facebook and combined like 5 or 6 fake pages, and boom, I had over 100K in one day. Like I had like 7K, and all these other pages had more than me, but they were fake.
Yeah.
Combined. So right then, then I had like a good following on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And then like Twitter's always been whatever for me, but that's kind of how that came together. You know what I mean?
I'm blown away, bro. Like,
yeah.
Talk about serendipity, right? But also think about, purpose. Like you had a purpose. You know, you happened to be in the right place at the right time, but you made it happen because there were other AND1 mixtape stars that didn't necessarily make the same transition that you did.
I think we were all on social media at that time. We were mainly just like getting girls, you know what I mean? for the single homies, I can't speak for everybody on the tour, but we were kind of just getting girls, going city to city and all that. You know, Facebook and MySpace, we kind of looked at it as just like whatever, it's something to meet people, talk to girls, whatever. But then I think for a lot of the guys though, it was just like foreign territory for them to like market themselves, because like now you're being strategic in the entertainment area, but you got to think a lot of them dudes were college hoopers. They played overseas, they played pro ball, and then AND1 was like this separate outlet. So they weren't necessarily creatives. Not saying they weren't creative, period, but they're really not like, they don't think like entertainment business marketing, like it's not even in their thought as far as doing it themselves. And honestly, it was a little bit foreign to me, but I saw the effect of like upload a vid, goes viral, walk outside, somebody mentions it, I'm just like, look, we went off ESPN. What was AND1 without ESPN? I mean, the mixtapes were big, don't get me wrong, but that momentum wave, we're 7 years from that or 6 years from that.
Yeah.
So, or at least when they were super hot, right? We're on volume 10 comes out, I think like '09 or '08 or something like that. And it doesn't hit the same. So I'm just seeing how I get bookings off it. And I'm like, this is basically like TV and it's a small version, but I'm like, whatever, what else we got? Because a lot of people were talking crap how they're going to revamp AND1 and do all that. And one company tried to do it, but it wasn't a successful thing. But this is all I had. And I'm young, when AND1 ended, a lot of people don't know. I was only 25, 26 when it ended. So I still had a lot of playing years left. A lot of my teammates, they were approaching 30 or in their mid-30s, right? Half Man, when I met him, I think it was like 35, 34, something like that. I'm 18. Mm-hmm. So for them, a lot of people say like, well, why didn't they brand, or what were their thoughts in regards to social media? But it was just like totally different mindset. Same way today, a lot of hoopers can't do YouTube because like their lifestyle is not going to be conducive to like leading a team. You know what I'm saying? Like just guiding your team and coming up with new concepts and being a creative, because you can't just document, right? Just documenting the videos aren't going to go off like that. So it's a lot, but yeah, that's kind of how that came together.
It's amazing. Eric, I turn it to you.
I
got other questions for you, Professor.
He's an artist. He's an artist.
Yes. You should hire him to produce your next film, Eric.
Well, I'm developing something with him that's taking me too long, but that's for another time. And
all right.
But no, I mean, I was thinking about this. When this date 6 years ago pops up on your phone, and you think about like the passage of time and what you were doing, like, yesterday, MLB All-Star 2019 pops up, and I'm in Cleveland documenting CC Sabathia because he's in his last season. He's chasing the 3,000 strikeouts and the 300 wins, and he's being honored there. And that's before I get to work with Kevin on the dock. That's before Showtime Basketball is born. That's before we live through a pandemic. That's before I move my life to California. And I just sit back and I just thought about everything that's happened between working on things like that and then getting on this incredible career rocket ship. So, for you, when you take us through that quick journey from '08 and AND1 ending to now and all you've built, like where does your mind go in terms of reflecting on that and thinking about what you've been able to continue to do, and as of course what we've talked about, inspire probably an immeasurable amount of people right now, whether it's basketball people, content people, creative people. Like, do you ever take a moment and think about it?
For sure. I mean, well, my thought on it is mind blown, right? I think, I remember when I first was on social media, and I remember looking at the other celebrities who had over 1 million following. And I remember thinking for myself, I was like, that's just not for me, right? Because people are always going to tier the NBA the highest, and then like they're going to be the top in the media. And then like somebody like me who's a streetball player who kind of passed his I thought I passed my peak after AND1. I'm like, this is just going to be a small thing for me. So I never would have thought we could have the kind of following we have today, and then like play in so many countries. Like, I've never been to a country now I don't have a bunch of fans. As soon as I touch down in any country ever on earth, like I'm gonna talk to 10 people at the airport at minimum that are gonna want a selfie or be a supporter or something like that. So yeah, I think it's mind blown in that regard. And then you asked me if I look back, I feel like I almost reflect too much, like more than other people, because like I'm always in on the content and we're always making like some sort of compilation from back in the day, or I've looked at my career milestone moments on film so much. I feel like I've relived them more than the average like person or hooper or whatever. So I'm always thinking about it and reliving it, and kind of just being in gratitude for it, and how it's transpired. But it's been great. I mean, the way I look back at AND1, I look at it more like it was a good thing. That documentary came out on Netflix a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. I thought it was good. Don't get me wrong. It was dope to be a part of. But I feel like it had kind of a sad tone to it.
It did. It did.
And
I
and there
like
was
the greatest mixtape ever, ESPN 30 for 30. That was really well done as well. I mean, it doesn't go into the whole ending of AND1 the way that the Netflix one did, but they were both
that was
well done.
fire too. Yeah, I felt like I like how they involved a lot of a lot of the celebrities and stuff with their viewpoint, and it was dope too because that was the time when I was just like a fan, right, of AND1. But yeah, when I look back at it, I look at it as awesome and great and something I was really grateful to be a part of. I do feel the OGs like a severance or something would have been nice, from the original owners, some sort of severance. I don't think legally it was owed, but it would have been like it would have showed like some integrity, you know what I'm saying? Some
like
courtesy to the guys.
Morally, it might have been the right thing to do.
Morally, I think like the viewpoint to be mad at them to this day, I don't necessarily agree with that because like you were asking somebody to be morally high. You can't be mad if somebody's not morally high. Like, you know what I'm saying? Life is life. I look at it more as like it all gave us a stamp though. We all went onto the nationwide basketball scene when we wouldn't have beforehand. Most likely, right? Most likely cats wouldn't have went onto the nationwide basketball scene without it. So I just look at it as a great time, and I was grateful for. And like none of us liked the ending. I didn't like the ending either. I just didn't get a call in '08. It was just a wrap. You know what I mean? They offered me a shoe deal in 2009. That if my shoes would have sold out nationwide, I would have made like 10K at most. If all my shoes sold out in Foot Action nationwide, that was a deal they offered me in '09, like after the tour. So like, I didn't like how it ended either, but. At this far out, I'm just like, man, it was great. It was a big force for like 10 years. I think it went 98 to '08 and like had a huge impact in basketball and like stamped us all. So I only look back at it as awesome. You know what I mean?
So yeah,
That's my
I
view.
have a question for you. We have a segment that we love called One on One. And I'm realizing I was in the park last summer and this kid is like, yo, G, 1v1, 1v1. And yeah, honestly, Professor, I don't know what the hell I'm wondering if he's speaking like an ancient language from like BC, like 1v1. I'm like 1v1, 1v1, 1v1. And I'm like, what what? And he's like, what? And then finally I'm like, oh, you mean 1-on-1? And I'm like, nah, I can't play, but we could do a 3-point shootout or whatever. So I'm curious, like, cause you've been in this. And I've done the Google searches. I put in 1v1. It's like, yo, you come up. On YouTube, I put 1v1. You come up. So who came up with 1v1? And at what point did that become a thing? And also, what is your most like bizarre memory of a one-on-one? Because you got a lot of them. You have a lot of them. You got the Spider-Man outfit. You got the nerd outfit. You got the Joker, you got all these out. Like what? Like, I know I'm throwing a lot of questions. Like, what even inspired you to go? Was it because Duke used to wear the Duke Tango, the announcer for AND1? He used to wear the wig. Was that an inspiration to start getting dressed up to go out to play ball? Like, how did that? What was the? I'm throwing too many questions at you.
No, you're good.
Consolidate,
You're good.
Bob. Consolidate.
Producer,
Consolidate the offense.
Producer, please help.
Dribble handoff. Hold on. Dribble handoff. Professor, what he's trying to ask is, what was the inspiration for you to turn into character, to then start playing 1v1 and create that following?
Yeah, so it was those are actually separate, to be honest. Like the 1v1 was something that the kids just started saying and they identified with it better. I think there was something about I think even outside of basketball, just in the bigger YouTube space, there's something about verses. It's like the smoke, you know what I'm saying? People just love the smoke. It's like boxing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think like when you put it on a thumbnail or you put in a title, the verse was stronger than on. Like one on one is like verse was stronger. And I think we saw it in other genres, and then like I took from that and other people took from that, and then it kind of just turned into 1v1. It's like a better way to list it in the title. I think it literally just comes from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I saw people did rap battles, and they were even doing fictional cosplay stuff, like this hero versus this villain, and the thumbnails were fired. It was like photoshopped up with the big VS in the middle. You know what I'm saying? It just created like It had a whole vibe to it. So I started the one-on-one vids because everything on my channel was 5v5 at that time. You know what I mean? Like, and it's harder, right? If you want to upload a bunch of content, like even now I play half court because 5-on-5 is just a bigger put together. There's more room for it to be a bad day, right? Like you come away with only like 3 to 5 highlights. Somebody might be hogging the ball. Oh, it's easy to take an L. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how to win, you got to play D and box out, get the right squad. Not everybody's available. You know what I mean? So for me, I wanted to just control my own narrative better. And I wanted to leave the court with like 37 highlights because now we have a bunch of short form and it can be a great YouTube video. You get the ball over and over. You got to worry about somebody else messing up the whole run or the narrative. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yep. Missing a
so
pass.
2v2 and 1v1 was more just for, it's just a better, lighter lift. It's already hard enough compared to other people's content, right? They just talking or doing something easy. My content's always heavy lift. So it was just a better way to do content every week. It's like a one-on-one. You know what I mean? So that's where that came from. As far as dressing up, 2013, my homie who was into cosplay, he was telling me how big like Comic-Con was and like people dress up and they make these vids online and
that's a word I've never even heard of before. Like until like last year, I was like, "What is cosplay? What? I don't understand." Like I feel like so out of it. When we've won cosplay, like I'm.
Think about it. That's just hitting you 2023. That's just hitting you now. Think about it. It was blowing up back then, but it was really like a It was kind of like the AND1 mixtapes were, right? They were heating up before it hit ESPN. They was on fire, but it was very niche though. It actually wasn't everybody. It was on fire with like hoopers and not the entire hoop crowd, like a niche of the hoop crowd, like loved it. You know what I mean?
Got you.
And so same with cosplay. This is going crazy. Like my homie pointed me to, we looked at 20 videos that were over 10 to 20 million views where it was like people dressed up and made their own skit or did their own thing or whatever, right? So, nobody had did it with sports though. Nobody did it with hip hop. Nobody did it with sports, and nobody did it with dancing. So like, he came up with the idea like, "Yo, why don't we dress you as a superhero? Why don't you make your first attempt to go viral?" Because I had never thought about going viral till 2013. Like making a strategic viral attempt. I was just documenting when I played, right, or making a highlight tape. I was just emulating the AND1 mixtapes. That's it. So he comes up with the superhero and. Coming from the early 2000s era, we know everything was like the harder you were, the cool you were. So like making a cosplay vid sounded mad nerdy. I'm like, I was like, you think that's a good look? And I'm laughing and we kind of agreed that like it may be nerdy or whatever, but at least it'd just be funny. You know what I'm saying? It's a one-off. Sure. It'll be funnier than my other vids at very worst, right?
Yep.
So we come up with Spider-Man because it covers the whole body, so it can be more of like a prank, you know?
Nobody would know it was you.
The funny thing is, bro, we were strategically, we were just all the way on point. It was a prank. It was wow factor. It was sports. It was cosplay. It was comedy. It was that all in one. And that's like the formula for a viral video. If you have like 3 to 5 levels of appeal, right? So, I ordered a costume. It definitely was God's plan. It was meant to be like you were saying, bro, because I ordered it offline. There's only like one I could find in the world online that was a medium. You know what I'm saying? Because if you go to Party City, the costumes are always baggy because the movie companies, I found out, they don't really like, maybe it's different now, but they didn't really like replicas because they wanted that movie suit or that one to be unique and then everybody else was make a silly version of it. So I found one that was a medium and I got it like a week later. The joint fit like a glove. Like it looked like it was made for me. So I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Now, I couldn't really hoop though. I was like 50%. I barely could see, I barely could breathe, and I could barely grab the ball, so it's slippery. But me and my homie were also like, who cares? We're making a silly vid. Like, let's just go see what's good.
Wait,
so we go to the
Did you have
park.
sneakers on or you had like the Spider-Man like outfit on your feet?
It came with like these boot covers. Like the first costume we had was mad bootleg. It was like it was like Party City level, but it fit perfect. So like it worked, but like I had sneakers. I had like the hyper dunks on, and they had like these boot covers over the top. And we're laughing like you're laughing right now, bro. We was laughing like that. We're like, this is the dumbest ish we've ever thought of. But let's go do it. It's gonna be funny. So we go to the park, and we don't even know how to. We didn't strategize. We just went to a rando ass park with random competition.
Yeah.
My homie goes out there first, so we filmed it like a real prank, right? He goes out there first and shoots around, but
And
then he has his.
as what? As Spider-Man too?
Nah, he just went out there as himself, but he had his
okay.
camera. So he goes and shoots around a little bit, then he sits on the bench. I walk out there. I can't even remember how it went. Somehow I just asked if dudes want to play King of the, or they asked me, like, do you want to play King of the Court? You want to play some ones? I'm like, oh, let's get it. Like,
you, and you're dressed as Spider-Man.
that's what was crazy about it. Like, I don't even know why they would, right? Because while the one dude asked me, the other dudes are looking at me like, this dude on drugs. You know what I mean? Because your words are muffled too. So like when you talk, you can't really understand what somebody's saying. I have to like hold it like this to talk. So anyway, we get into a game. I literally only hooped for about 20 minutes, but like not that the comp was amazing, but like every move I did was flawless. I don't even know if I missed a shot. It is funny too, because playing in that thing was so hard, but like I just got in the zone or whatever. So after that, I edited the vid. It took me like a few hours. I had a flight to Chicago in the morning. We were on tour. We were doing Ball Up at the time.
Yeah.
And I get back to my place. I edited all night, upload it. I didn't know how to compress a file back then, so it said it was going to upload. It was like 13 hours. So I was like, damn, 13. So I wake up early I leave the computer on all night. I wake up early for my flight. The joint still says like an hour or something like that, 45 minutes. I was like, I got to go, whatever. So I left the computer on. At this point, I was living in a one-bed apartment. I was broke. Like, I didn't even care about anything. I left the computer on. That shit broke. I didn't even care. I was like, whatever. So I was headed to LAX. Soon as I got to LAX, I checked my email notifications. This is before like the apps had notifications, so I get an email notification. That joint already had 100K by the time I got to LAX. 100K, but I had to double take it. I'm like, 100, what the, wait, it just went up. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was tripping out. By the time I go to sit on the plane, it had like $1 million. By the time I get to Chicago, it had like $2 million. Yeah, that thing was going off. And then literally by the second day,
I'm getting goosebumps.
I already inbox was flooded. CNN, NBC, ESPN, Slam magazine, all the top media outlets had asked me if they could use it and do an interview or whatever. So that's how that came about. Like, that was the birth, and I got 1 million subs in one day.
Amazing.
That
B-Ball Radio, the home of content strategy and cosplay.
Yeah.
And yo,
B-Ball
here's the funny part though. Look, we laughing, right? Our reaction was like yours. Like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done for sure. But I was like, let's get it in. But the funny thing is, the new generation, they're different, you know? Gen Z is just different, right?
Yeah.
They received it as the hottest thing ever. There was no laughing involved. Like, they were like, yo, that shit, yo, that was the one. Like, that's how people react to it on the street. And then people was like, yo, you Spider-Man. Like, they owned it like it was like the hottest thing ever, where we were thinking it would be like comedy, so it's like funny. And so that's how I got into cosplay. Still doing it today, right? Like
Nah, I saw
it's
you
funny
dressed
how
up as
that.
a McDonald's worker. I saw you dressed up as. I love the nerd with the backpack. That might be my favorite.
Yeah, like, yeah, because we found like on YouTube you learn with like sport, like business marketing, like content marketing. Like, you want to do stuff that goes outside your demographic, and if you just document yourself hooping, it gets boring, it gets stale. Like, even if you're going crazy, like if it's keep score or the highlight compilation. Not that we don't still do that, but if you just do that over and over, it just gets boring. So, and it doesn't go outside your demo.
Yeah.
So yeah, we try to do stuff that could leave the demographic still.
Eric,
but yeah.
I think you and I, for the next interview, we have to get dressed up as like, I don't know, UPS workers. I don't know, like postman.
What can Brown do for you?
Hey, you know what's funny? I'm actually doing a campaign like that. I'm doing one with Powerade. I'm supposed to be dressed as an Amazon delivery person. That's like later this month.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Cool.
Well,
What do you say that?
we one of the times we were walking off the court in Venice, we were talking about like, what's a movie character we can put you in and bring you to the court. So I think we got to do that before the end of the year. Who's the movie character that he can be, and we create that that next sensation. So one thing I want to pivot to, and Bob and I have all these, we like have a grid of all these different segments that we want to sprinkle into the show. So knowing that outdoor ball was the start of everything for all of us, regardless of where we grew up and who we were playing with, our next segment is called
The Park is My Church.
I first started playing street ball actually when I was like a freshman in high school, or maybe like 8th grade. We had like there's a court in Salem, Oregon, but it's in like the hood area, which at the time I liked, right? Because that was my version of being AND1, you know, in like in my city or whatever. And it's funny because the wave of the popularization of street ball made that park and other street ball courts go off, right? I mean, if you lost, you might as well go home, because to get back on is 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 game wait, you know what I mean? And everybody was rocking AND1 too in that time period, funny enough. So yeah, I think probably my first experience maybe was 7th or 8th grade at that street ball court, and it was packed like that with a couple hundred people out there. Bro, AND1 was so popular that all outdoor ball had never been, I feel like outdoor ball had never been that popular. Like obviously in New York it was always a staple, a lot of East Coast, but like in the suburbs, in other cities, like decent sized cities or whatever, it had never been that popular. So I remember going out there and just playing, and I got a couple like Iverson crossovers off and a couple no-look passes, and people were going crazy. And that was like the first time I felt myself doing something AND1-ish, street ball-ish or whatever. And I had the mixtapes, and I was just really excited about that whole movement. I had the full gear. My first day of school outfit is AND1 head to toe. So that was like my first memory of street ball.
Amazing.
Yeah.
If the Naismith Hall of Fame says, Professor, we want one item to represent your history and contribution to the game. Maybe you don't part with it, but what would be the most coveted item in your trophy case that you still have to this day?
Yeah, man. What is the one item? I think for me it would be an AND1 jersey. Now, which AND1
the
jersey?
Madison Square Garden one where you hit the three to win the game. That's got to be the one, yo. That's got to be the one, B. That was your deliverance, bro. You was like a Salem, Oregon, like, you know, cool kid, and then from there you went to like, well, actually maybe it's your Spider-Man outfit.
Oh, shoot. You know what it is, though? The culture grabs mainstream things more. Like, YouTube items don't ever, like, you know what I'm saying? It's not the same. I think because there's so many YouTube vids, you know what I mean? But I think it would be two things, maybe three. Maybe it's the Spider-Man fit or the shoes from that. But I think the MSG jersey, which I got stolen from my office, got raided like 3 or 4 years ago, and they stole everything. Yeah. They stole all my AND1 sneakers, jerseys, because I had shoes back in the day too. But you know what happens. But I bought back off eBay. I bought the jersey that sold at Foot Locker. There was like a blue camo. It was like all royal blue and it had the camo lining. I don't know if you remember that, but that was like that was the product that went the furthest for me, like in the culture, just because it was like at Foot Locker and Foot Action. So it'd probably be one of those three things if I had to pick. You know what I mean?
Professor, you are obviously, you know, you are who you are. You are so down to earth. You connect with people on the everyday in a very unique and rare way. And then at the same time, you have globally iconic athletes and hoopers who look at you with this aura and this glow around you. So talking to KG about you and then making that episode happen where we came to your former HQ with the half court, the layer 12 studio, I believe is what you called it. And that episode was so dope, not just because of the relationships, but Kevin is one of the most larger than life people, and we're talking about Kevin Garnett right now, and one of the most larger than life people imaginable, and he is hanging on every single word you are saying. not only during the conversation, but also what I loved was we get up, and Bob, I don't know if you watched this in full or you just watched the clips. Like, we get up on the court, and Professor is taking KG through, this is how Kyrie does this move. This is what AI's crossover felt like. And I'm in basketball content producer heaven watching this. So as I say all this, KG is one example, obviously, to use. But what's it been like for you, like, getting that respect and that love from some of the best to ever do it?
Yeah, humbled ain't, I can't, it's hard to put into words, right? Super humbled, mind blown, very surreal. It's like you don't think about this moment of the career, right? Because everything's about, when you're hooping it for, everything's just to make it. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a hooper, you just want to make it. And so, and we all have the NBA in sight. So, like, I never would have thought that street ball or content creation would be the avenue. And then you never would have thought that not being the NBA could have had the kind of respect that it had. And not in my wildest imagination would I think KG, would have such high esteem, or Isaiah, or that like Steph Curry and Kyrie, they grew up off the mixtapes. You know what I'm saying? Like
100%.
Kyrie and them been following me since high school on social media. And so to see them, like, what their view is on it, like, it's some of the coolest things in my career, I guess, in short. You know what I'm saying? That's some of the coolest stuff to ever come in my career. Something I never even, you don't envision this side. I think, like, AND1 empowered me to have confidence to even go there, right? I might not have explored that had it not been that. So you're right. The title also makes it harder, though.
Yeah,
it's like both.
Right.
Once you have a name, like, even now, if I play ball, it's always super personal. You know what I mean? It's going to be, and whoever's guard me, they're going to play harder than they would normally play, because they don't want to get humiliated and they don't want to be on that, on the video or whatever. So I think for me, I for sure, confidence, right? I mean, the year before I actually made it, like, signed the deal, won the contest with AND1 and signed the deal. The year before that, I actually made it out of the open run and played against Team AND1 just for like a couple games. But I was like a star just because of that, like in my hometown. So that even gave me confidence. The fact I could make it and play against the AND1 players, like, even that alone gave me a lot of confidence. So getting on the scene, winning that contest, and then finding out nobody really told me what my skill level was, right? Because my college coaches come more from that old school mindset where they're not going to even trust me to do a crossover or a no-look pass or whatever. So it was actually looked at as bad. But then as I'm playing with Sick With It and AO and dudes out there who have played D1 and pro ball, they're asking me, like, where are you going to school? But they ain't thinking anything outside of D1. And I'm like, oh, no, I go to school, but I don't play. I'm on the bench. I ride, like, they're like, what? You know what I mean? But it depends what lens you look through with basketball. So to get that was their view. I probably got 100 times more confidence, coming back that following year and then wherever I played pickup and everything. So yeah, I totally agree with you. But it also made it harder because I get everybody's career game or A game. Even till this day, I'm always getting everybody's career game or best defense, and they're really fouling. Street ball ain't got no refs, so that's always like a hard thing. But at the same time, I am encouraged and confident through everything too.
It's funny watching, like, your one-on-one games and how hard these guys are playing, and at the same time, they're trying not to get dropped on camera because they know something's coming. And it's funny because when you and I first worked out, you were sidelined for a while. You were coming back from an injury, so you were kind of easing back. Yep. I think it was a foot injury, right? It was your foot, and you were kind of easing back into it. So I'm like kind of reading you on the court, and I'm like, I wonder how hard he's going to go when we start working out. And then as we started to do more, and remember that day we went and we used like the main court at Venice because they were setting up for the event, and like everyone was circling and watching instead of being over on the side.
That's
right. And yeah, and it's just I love watching your stuff so much too. Not just technique, but like I see your competitiveness continue to build during these games, and then you eventually push that button. And even it was something yesterday where you put a move on a guy, and you're going full go to your left hand, outstretched off the glass, like pro level type move. And for me, and I know Bob, you look at it through your lens, like always looking at technique, always looking at moves. Obviously, I'm not the guy on this show who plays with that kind of flair and has that kind of ability. I am Mr. Robotic Fundamental, but yeah, man, it's all so much fun continuing to watch you in that realm, and obviously knowing how we've gotten to know each other and the friendship that we have. So, one thing that that leads me to the next question, and it's something that it's a perfect example of Bob and I have known each other now 17 plus years, and you have all these relationships. So last year when I did that series with T-Mac and the OBL, we were like trying to, like, what should the title of this be, right? Like, what's the why behind this? And we came up with Bonded by Ball, and it's such a universal theme, right? So when did you know that this game was bonding you and creating relationships in a very different and meaningful way? Was it on the tour? Was it people you've met post-tour? We all have our stories. We all have these incredible lifelong relationships that we've made through the game. Well, when did you become conscious that that was present in your life?
I think my second year, was it 2004 or 5, the mixtape tour. Obviously for me it was special just meeting my idols, right? I probably like Skip to My Lou, Hot Sauce, and Ali Mo more than NBA player, or just as much as Allen Iverson and Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? So for me, just to meet them alone
Ali Mo as well
was super special. That was super special. We could have stopped there. I would have been good. You know what I mean? like that was incredible to me. And then I think what really hit me too was when I signed with my first agent. I had the Goodwin brothers as my first agent, and they represent Gary Payton, Shaq. Man, they had a squad. I'm trying to think who they repped in the league back then. Like 10 dudes, but half of them are Hall of Famers. You know what I mean? And what was a trip is GP was my trainer's roommate in college. So my parents got me a trainer, which that was barely even around. I don't even know if in Oregon it wasn't even a thing. This dude, he was innovative. He started doing individual training. They got me with him in 4th grade. So he taught me to in and out. He taught me to Iverson crossover. And I was picking this stuff up in like a week. You know what I'm saying? It really laid a lot of like the foundation of my game. So, but he always tell me about stories about GP, and I never met him, but I had like this parking pass from GP that was signed, like just a random parking pass. And that was like my most prized possession. That was like on the wall in my room. So when I made the tour, me and my idols was amazing. But then going to some sort of launch party that the Goodwin brothers hosted, and the whole Miami Heat team and the Sonics, or no, maybe GP's on the Heat. I think GP was on the Heat at that time. So everybody's there. So Shaq is there. GP's there. D Wade's there. Everybody in this room. And so I'm sitting there talking to Shaq. He's like, yo, what's up, bro? Love your game, you know? And then GP, talking to GP, it's crazy because now it's like I'm with my trainer who I started with in 4th grade. Now I'm 20 years old. I'm hanging with GP, who I'm co-represented by the same agent. You know what I mean? The whole thing was very like surreal. But I will say it was happening so fast and I was so young-minded that I don't think I saw it for what it was actually until like after AND1. That like later I cherish it more. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't thinking about leveraging relationships and living in gratitude, because when you're a kid, everything's happening fast and you're kind of like a little bit ungrateful, or at least I was. You know what I mean? So those are my first surreal moments. knowing that the relationships were big. But I think after AND1, I started to cherish things much more, as I got older, seeing it more for what it was.
3-on-3 basketball is happening in the Olympics. So would love your thoughts on not just that, but how the 3-on-3 game has continued to evolve. And, quickly for me, being someone that was so hands-on as a teacher and a coach, everything I would do foundationally, whether it was grade school, middle school, or high school, team-wise, started with 3-on-3 team drills. Spacing, movement, playing together, and then evolve it to 5-on-5. So, would love your take on that and just the thoughts on 3-on-3 now being recognized and officially part of the Summer Olympics.
Oh, dude, I think it's fire because I feel like for basketball in the Olympics, right, it's only reserved for the league, for the best of the league, right? I mean, it's reserved for the best of the all-star, like the best of the best. So the fact they open it up for amateur on some level is crazy. And not that those guys are amateur is probably an unfair word for whoever's representing the U.S. at the Olympics, but the fact they opened it up and provided more possibilities for that, I think is incredible. If I was in my 20s, I'd be trying to vie to at least go to the qualifying tournaments, right? I know 3-on-3 is like real physical. It's almost like football, right? It's like for big dudes, but I think it's so dope that they expanded upon that. I'd love to see 1v1 in the future. That would be hard if they did something like that. But no, even if it stayed as is, I think 3v3 in the Olympics, I think it only makes sense, honestly, because we look at basketball, how we play it growing up, and there's so many different ways. Obviously, 5-on-5 is the main way, but how many of us didn't grow up playing tons of 1-on-1 and 3-on-3? Like you said, it's kind of a staple in basketball. So yeah, I love it.
Is there between us? Is there a entertaining hoop it up, or what else was it? Was it take it? I think take it
Gus
to the
Macker
hoop.
3-on-3 as well.
It was like a hoop. Yeah, actually, somebody I just played pickup with that game I told you about last week, Bob. He's a writer and an actor. After we talk and play, he sends me a script about a group of kids playing in the Gus Macker. And I've got to read it this week. But Professor, did you play in any memorable hoop it up 3-on-3 tournaments back in the day where you were in that?
Yeah, for sure. Oregon actually had their own version of hoop it up. It was called Hoopla. It's actually still there. It's huge. I don't know how many. It's like hundreds of teams playing a 3v3. But it was one of my favorite times of the summer. Going out there. And I remember even after I got on AND1, I actually played. I remember I actually came back and played in it. And that was some of my most fun memories, hooping in my hometown, Salem, Oregon. But yeah, and then later, I never played in hoop it up out here in LA, but I would go and just show love to the homies who were playing in it or whatever. But I love 3-on-3 basketball outdoor tournaments. And like you said, there's a ton. I think in even in the Northwest, like in Seattle, Tacoma, they have Hoop Fest. And that's even bigger than Hoopla and just as big as Hoop It Up and all that. So, yeah, some good
stuff,
times.
Man.
Yeah, I'm flashing back to 1993, losing a gut-wrenching championship at the Nassau Coliseum.
As an undersized small forward.
Oh, that's the worst. The L and the chip.
As an undersized small forward, yeah. Professor, I always say to people, I'm an undersized 4. In our first episode, I said I'm an undersized small forward, and Bob is still laughing about it. But no, my high school teammates and I, we ended up having a heck of a run our senior year. We were conference champs on the South Shore of Long Island, but we played in all that stuff together coming up, and we loved 3-on-3 because we like to play physical and we'd screen the hell out of you and play that way. But great memory of playing in this tournament that we were oh so close. But this feels like Chapter 1 with the professor, and maybe we should check in, every few months. This was awesome. One thing that we're gonna do, Professor, and one of the reasons why we wanted to get your take on 3-on-3 is, with the Olympics coming up, we're definitely going to be talking about Olympic basketball a bit. So if anything in the Olympics catches your eye, men's or women's, let us know. But really grateful for the time and the insight, the stories, and you've given us a lot of gold today. So our audience is going to love this. Yeah, Bob, close us out properly on B-Ball Radio.
Yo, before we get out of here, we got to shout out the team, social media status, Amanda Bonavante and Deja Carr on the editing tip, Robert Brooks, crushing it. We also got to big up our partners, Art19 on the back end, hooking us up with ads and platforms and all that stuff. And then Apple, put us in new and noteworthy category, which was humongous. Got us a lot of new followers on that platform. So thank you, salute, bang, bang. But biggest applauso goes to you, Professor. Thank you for being an inspiration, a leader in this space. And, I caught it too. I guarded you in the Ball Up Media game in 2014, and you hit me with the bop, bad, like my hand didn't touch the ground, but 3 of my fingertips was like, and I was like, please don't fall. It's on camera. Then Mr. Africa posted on social media. But, I know what time it is, B. A lot of cats be doubting your game, because they see that, you skinny and you shorter than most cats. And I could testify, like your handle's bananas, B. All right. So props coming from a cat born and raised in New York and seen a lot of people do it, and best of luck with Crossover University and all your other projects. All right. Peace. B-Ball Radio.